Joining us now, CNN senior political analyst Nia Malika Henderson and CNN political analyst Jonathan Martin. I first want to start with this hot mic moment that we heard with Chuck Schumer talking to President Biden. Let's listen.
It's hard to believe that they will go for Herschel. That seat, we're in danger of that seat. It looks like the debate didn't hurt us too much in Pennsylvania as of today, so that's good.
Oh man, the hot mic.
I love it.
They never learn.
Love it.
They never learn. That aside, this is some pretty honest analysis here.
I love the candor. I love the honesty. You don't get this. You get Democrats who are hopeful when they get on camera about some of these races. Really interesting sort of behind the scenes. Look at how they really feel about this particular race, particularly Georgia, the idea that it has tightened. I think Democrats were very hopeful that some of the revelations and allegations about Herschel Walker would expand what looked to be like a Warnock lead, at least in some of those polls, and now you see it certainly tightening. And you can tell sort of in the way that Warnock himself is campaigning that it's a much tighter race. Herschel Walker did much better in the debate than I think Democrats and a lot of people thought he would be. So yes, to get that unvarnished look, Democrats are nervous. These races are tightening as they usually do down the stretch.
We also heard Schumer there talking about the Pennsylvania race, saying that the Fetterman performance in his debate against Oz didn't hurt us. Clearly, that was concern, Jonathan.
It's wishful thinking.
How do
Chuck Schumer's part?
Chuck
has no scientific knowledge of what the impact of the debate was a day later on a tarmac in New York. He's just trying to buck up the president. And at the same time, I think his talk about Georgia is also about trying to get Biden's help to raise money further in Georgia as well. Look, you look at that map that you showed on the screen there. And what's remarkable is two things. First of all, the ubiquity of Biden in Pennsylvania cannot be talked about enough. Look, it is an important state. There's no question about it. The Senate could hinge on Pennsylvania, but Biden is there so much, in part because it's a close trip to Washington, and in part because he can't go a lot of other places because they don't want him there. That map has Obama going to Georgia and Nevada in the final days of the election, not the current president. Why? Because Biden is not wanted in those states by the Democrats on the ballot, and Obama can come and get voters stirred up. That's the real story of this final week. A former president, more welcome, more of a draw in more parts of the country than the current president of the United States.
And the fact that he's going to Florida, to me, only suggests that they really don't think they have any chance in Florida, really, at all, in those races, the Senate race and the governor's race.
And New Mexico is an important governor's race, but there's no Senate race happening in New Mexico this year. And Biden, again, he's going there because the larger story is where he can't go. So that's why he's going to New Mexico.
Do you guys agree with his assessment of Georgia?
Listen, all these races are going to tighten. I think 90 to 95% of voters have likely made up their mind. And in the closing weeks, you see some of these polls tighten because people are starting to make up their minds. But sure, if you privately talk to Democrats, they are a little more concerned with that race. You saw Warnock in some of these polls up by 6 or 7 points. That seemed to be very unlikely. No one is believing a poll like that. Most people think it'll likely go to a runoff, and then we'll see what happens in December.
I think it's likely to go to a runoff, but there's a chance that Walker could win outright on a really good Republican night, especially if Brian Kemp, the incumbent governor on the top of the ticket, is winning by 5 or more points. Could bring Walker across the goal line, as they say in football.
So if things are so tight and Democrats are so worried, and so many voters have made up their minds, why are we only seeing Obama out on the campaign trail now?
I think this is what he typically does, the former president, who does not do a lot of current politics, likes to stay out of it for the most part. But I think, most Octobers, he does come out and do a handful of campaign events for down ballot candidates. That's sort of been the tradition that he's had since leaving the White House in 2017. His wife is not going to be on the campaign trail, to the dismay of some Democrats who would love to have her out there as well. But it's so striking because the Obama-Biden relationship is one. It's a friendship, but it's also a rivalry, too. And I think for Biden to see Obama out there campaigning in states where Biden can't go, let's just put it this way, it'll be noted in the building. Okay.
And listen, and he does well in terms of rallying African American voters, young voters, and also suburban voters as well, white voters. So you'll see him in different states. You're right, they really wish Michelle would be out there too.
And the key word that is rally, too. Biden simply is not the orator that Obama is, and Biden does not do those kinds of large rallies. Well, he's not going to draw the crowds that Obama could draw, but also just in terms of the delivery. That's not Biden's strength. Biden's strength is empathy in a small group. You saw the clip there in Syracuse. Biden's not a wholesale politician in the way that Obama is.
Yeah, very different, very different. Jonathan, Nia, thank you so much to both of you.